So I'm going to show you how I transformed this area from kind of a dead hebe bush, you can see on the right there, this is the only clip I've got of it, to a garden pond area. So what I did first was I just kind of gathered some just basically old stones lying about the garden, and I had this kind of vision that I wanted it to be kind of a bit of a raised pond. So I just wanted to see, what I could do with the stones that I had. So I managed to create this to start off with, just to give me kind of a base. My husband, bless him, dug out all of the hebe bush, so I'm going to give him credit for that. I wanted to create like this hidden garden effect. So we've got this pond base from Amazon, I think it was about £26, and put a stone in the bottom, and I had some kind of old mud and clay and stones that were dug out when the fences had kind of blown down over winter, and I packed that around the pond at the bottom so that I knew it was really tight and packed. And then I got some alpine plants, just a few, and I got some better compost and started planting the alpines in that better compost as a top layer, and started really packing around the pond with this compost, because obviously when it rains the compost will sink a little bit, so I wanted as much compost as I could get in there, so I really packed it in quite tight. As well as that, the gravel kind of disappears quite quickly if you don't pack it right into the sides, that those holes just suck up the gravel. So everything was kind of the plants were placed to begin with, just so I knew where I wanted them, and then I basically packed in the compost. And then here you can see I'm starting to kind of lay that gravel around, and that's at that point I knew that I had to pack it well in. So I gravelled all the way around the top to start with. And I picked this really light golden gravel because it's quite a dark area and I wanted something to really brighten it up. This is my hand trying to get the gravel around the pond. And then to create more of a natural effect, I've got to move the gravel around the bottom of the pond as well, which I think it actually looks really nice. Now it's rained and settled in a bit. So here's the finished kind of pond, and I put some more smaller stones around it to give basically the effect of kind of the top of an old stone wall that you see in the countryside. It also obviously covers the ugly bits of the sides of the pond kind of base as well. So carefully I picked all my beautiful quartz stones out and put those around, and I also stuck that old heron in. We've had that heron fallen over in the garden for years, but it just looks perfect there, like it's meant to be. And here you can see I'm kind of backing out to show you that secret garden effect. Here we are coming up. It's all finished. I've got all the pond plants in, and we've even got some goldfishes. We've got 5 goldfishes this morning, and they just seem so happy in there. Look at those little things. They're just so beautiful. We are at the bottom of the pond. They just seem to stay at the bottom at the moment because they're just getting used to it. And hopefully the heron will keep anything away from it, but we don't get other kind of big birds in the garden. The most we'll get is a pigeon, and I don't think the pigeons will be after them. So hopefully they'll be alright in there in their new little home, but I might get a little net if I have to put over the top. So finally I wanted to show you how the solar is set up. So basically it's just it's a double kind of oxygenator. It pumps oxygen into the pond via some little tubes, and it's solar powered. So here you can see I am going to attach it properly at some point, but it's basically at the top of the bench, and it's powering these 2 little oxygenators just to provide a little bit extra for the pond. It's not a pump, it doesn't filter it, it just pops in oxygen. And I've used a similar thing in another little pond, which is more or less the same further down the garden, which I'm going to show you in a little while. And it's just popping up again just to see the finished article. It's just such a beautiful, peaceful little spot up there now. Transformed it. I've spun you around so you can see my potatoes. They are just absolutely massive now. They're grown, and here's my little bulb box, and these irises that I totally forgot about planting have popped up, and they're just so beautiful. See some sunflowers there, and I've got quite a few nasturtiums just around the base, some ground cover really. And I mean, that white box has been lying around the garden for years. I think I got it from a jumble or something, and I never knew what to do with it, and it just seems to fit perfectly there. And here we are swinging around the pond again. See the solar panel, the pond, and you can see it's working, doing its job in there. Here's Lucy, and Lucy wants to take us to see the other pond. It's a new little extension to a bed that I planted this year, more or less all from seed. And you can see down here, this is the original pond we kind of had, so now hopefully we've got a bit of a wildlife corridor, and you can see it's quite overgrown, this pond. It does need sorting out, but there's quite a lot of tadpoles in at the moment, so I'm not going to do anything probably for about another month or so. And I've got a bush at the back that needs trimming back, but these plants were originally as small as the ones up in the pond that I've just shown you. So you can see how everything kind of grows and takes over, and it's constant kind of trimming back if you can. I mean, that lavender was just like a tiny little cutting, and it's just taken off there. Sometimes the plants just kind of find the spot, and they love it. Like this bush, it's so beautiful in the spring. It's got these white flowers, and these beautiful red leaves in the autumn. But at the moment, it's just got a bit too big. So I thought I'd finish off by, because you can't miss some of these beautiful flowers. When you do a monthly kind of tour, you do miss out on some of the changes. So I'm just going to pop round, and there's the bunny tails grass that I grew from seed. But those onions were overwintered onions, and were literally, as the goat seed, we use them as spring onions and just chop them up and put them in food straight away. Here's the foxgloves. They look so beautiful, kind of this white pinky colour, and then I've got the traditional pink ones behind, and they've just kind of starting to take over from the lupins that are just starting to go to seed now. I think I'm probably going to cut those ones that have gone to seed down at the base. You can see they're just these kind of like towers of red hot pokers, and pretty soon I think the hydrangeas are going to have their turn as well.